Good evening, dear listeners and viewers. It's very nice to be back again. And tonight on our Tuesday, we're going to be talking rubbish, really. No, we're not. We're going to be talking very sensible, erudite stuff with your assistance on the question of rubbish because there's too much of it around. And with me tonight, I have our studio guest who is Maium Talukdar. So welcome to Maium. Can you hear me, Maium?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Jenny. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. Yes, I can hear you too. So it's fantastic. All the technology is working. Except tonight our phone technology is not working. So if you'd like to be part of the show, then please just ring. You can't ring in tonight, but please just put a comment in the comments box on our Facebook page. So welcome to the listeners I can see joining us. And let's first of all explain why it is, Mayum, that we're having to visit the subject of rubbish. What was it that you found in Bing Street, the bins in Bing Street? What was wrong with them?
Well, before I talk about Bing Street, I think I just want to briefly just let everyone know what has happened previously. I mean, although we had pandemic, everyone thought it's because of pandemic, but this issue has been happening for a while now. It's beyond since it came to in-house within the London Borough of Tower Hamlets. So we thought many residents thought it's maybe because of pandemic, but it's not. It's kind of continuing the issue, and it's not just Bing Street. It's beyond Bing Street, Samuda State, Blackwall, Teviot, wherever you go, every corner of the borough. If you look into tweets, Facebook, everyone's got bin or waste collection issue. And coming back to Bing Street, I went to just for a home visit. I regularly still do home visits within the Isle of Dogs, within the Hamlets as well. And I saw a pile of rubbish, and it's been there for over 8 days. And I shared the photos and everything on my Facebook, on tweets, and it's been over 8 days. And like, there's rats. Fox been hunting around night time, and this is really bad. This is a basic, one of the key delivery services that the council or the housing association, the RSOs, they must deliver. And over 8 days and piles of like rubbish like that, this is totally unacceptable. And I straight away I tweeted to the council. I also used an apps and also the media attraction as well. And it got cleared for the following day. But we didn't need, all this, criticism, media and Facebook tweet. It needs to be done. This is a bread and butter thing for the council and for the administration. People deserve better service. And as I said, this is one of the key, service for the council or the housing association to deliver. And unfortunately, they are failing. And this has not been something that over the last few months or weeks, it's been ongoing. And since they have done this in-house, it was bad before, but it's gone worse now under this administration. The in-house thing is not working. Certainly, they've not planned well. They've done schedules and things online to look at. Obviously, it hasn't worked. It's not working because it's not always according to the schedule. There's always an issue. I know things happen. Sometimes lorry get. There's an issue with the lorry fire or something. It happens, but it looks like it's happening more often. And that is the frustration from residents, all part of the borough, not just Isle of Dogs, everywhere. Even, I had a tweet today, E2, Weavers, the bin's not been collected for 2 weeks. And it's happening every single day. People are reporting it on Facebook. And it's a shame. It's a shame, Jenny. We have representatives who are meant to represent the resident within the council, and their eyes are not open. Like, don't they walk around streets? Don't they see these kind of rubbish being collected? They need to wake up, and they need to open their eyes and start walking and noticing things that needs to be done.
Yes, I mean, you've nicely summed up there what the problem is and how we're looking for solutions. I've got some figures here. There was a Freedom of Information request on the council website a while ago, and that did say that there were over 9,000, nearly 10,000 missed collections of rubbish in 2018. And that went up to nearly 12,000 missed collections in 2019. I mean, we don't yet know what the figures are for 2021. And obviously, with COVID, it is the case that working together in those enclosed spaces, initially when COVID began, refuse staff, as an essential service, were working, but in that enclosed environment, do seem to have suffered disproportionately from COVID, and that did cause a problem. You're right to acknowledge that, but here we are now. Why is it that we have to use freedom of information requests to find out how many collections are being missed? Why isn't that information given as a routine on the council website? Do you think that's a sort of move towards transparency that would be welcome?
Well, I think in terms of transparency, it's been very poor. I mean, just putting things on the website is not good enough because you're not reaching out to everyone by putting things on the website. I mean, yes, in that case, this information was not provided on the website, and I think it's about hiding things, and it's about running away from your job. And I think yes, sometimes this kind of information is important. You need to reach out to resident. You need to be honest. You need to tell residents, sorry, we missed the collection or we've missed that. Whatever reason it is. Communication is so important, and within communication transparency obviously comes into it as well. And I think they have failed on this matter totally.
Well, it just makes you wonder who's actually monitoring the performance, doesn't it? Maybe we'll ask the council at some point. Is it a cabinet minister? Cabinet minister. It's only Tower Hamlets. It's not the government. Is it a cabinet member? A councillor? Is there somebody, a senior officer, who's monitoring the service? I think we should know. I mean, for me, the important point is, as you say, it's not just, does the place look tidy or not? It's a case of attracting vermin, and that affects health, and we should be better than that at keeping healthy at the moment. So it's very important that the bins are actually emptied regularly. I did a bit of research earlier this evening and tried to find out if there are any current figures on the website, and I couldn't find any. That may not be my fault. It may be that there aren't any. It may be that I just couldn't find them. And I do find the council website, very daunting. But I did find something that said, here, how to report a problem with your bin collection. So enthusiastically, I clicked on it, and it led to something that said, don't report missed collections here. Report them somewhere else. But I found the somewhere else, and I'm actually going to just put that in the comments box on our website at the moment. I've put a couple of comments down already. I've put down one comment with a link to the East London News website, which has your article about what you found in Bing Street. And of course, if you look at the article on the East London News, you can see the overflowing bins with their open lids. They look like they're talking. They say, help, collect me, empty me. I think that. And it's right next to a community centre. So that really doesn't give a good impression at all, does it? So I've just put up a link now of the page I found on the council website where you can report a missed collection. So viewers, and I can see there's people joining every minute, please use the link and report all your missed bin collections so the council knows what's happening. But we've had some comments coming in. Amy Susanna confirms Wapping rubbish is collected. So things are obviously going well in Wapping. That's good news.
Well, maybe the mayor lives there, that's why.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Come to think of it. Yeah, I'm sure that can't be the reason, Maium. Maybe it's just a nice area where the bins are easy to collect. Actually, there's not a lot of high-rise blocks in Wapping, is there?
No,
come to think of it. So
not.
maybe that's what makes bin collecting more difficult. Shahidul Islam says our bins were overflowing on the Isle of Dogs just today. It's been a while since it was collected, and we've no idea when it will be collected. And he adds the recycling bins are overflowing too, and yet to be collected, waiting curiously. No updates or information from the council. And of course, here we do have to say that I think it's not just the council responsible for taking refuse away. I think if you're living in an area governed by a social landlord, your social landlord has a responsibility to make things go away as well. So, look, we're coming in thick and fast here. So, Sybil Cock, who's often been a great guest on the programme, she's also suffered from bin collections. It really is happening everywhere. I had a series of missed collections in June. Eventually, I was advised to make a complaint. Poor man from the depot phoned me the next day and sent a van round immediately. I got the impression that the front end website does not talk to the guys running the vans in the recycling centre. He was very frustrated, as were the people I spoke to at the contact centre. Very frustrating for the people that work for the council. So that's a good point. I mean, what do you think, Maium? Is this a worker issue? Are the workers not doing their job, or is this a management issue?
Well, I think it needs to be communicated. Obviously, the council or the RSLs are accountable to us, and obviously, and they need to make sure, or they need to monitor that the workers are doing the right job properly. So we can't blame the workers. We will blame the people who are accountable to us. So I would blame the council and the RSLs.
Mm.
And I think why does thing gets done every time you're putting something on a public domain, Twitter or Facebook or some kind of other networks?
Mm.
Why does it seems the actual procedure or the complaint procedure is the text and the Facebook is more powerful than the actual procedure implemented by the council or the RSLs. We shouldn't have to do that.
We do need a review if you're listening. John Biggs, if you're listening tonight, you're always welcome to put a comment on Facebook and let us know what you can do to fix this problem, or if there is a cabinet member who can answer. I mean, obviously, this process was overseen to begin with by Councillor David Edgar, and he seems not to be on the front bench any longer. Obviously, spending more time with his constituents or something. So there's a sense of continuity gone, really. So we need the current councillors to wake up. And backbench councillors, if you're listening, we suggest you go out for a walk because this problem is probably featuring in your area. And it's not a small issue either. I think I've got the figures here somewhere. The annual cost of running the refuse collection service, that's your standard refuse collection that takes refuse to landfill sites, is £4,119,000 a year. That's the figures for 2019-20. But that's an awful lot. I mean, when the service went in-house, was it about 15 million spent
Yeah.
in new lorries and so forth. So it should be a well-equipped service and easier to manage. What's going wrong, Tower Hamlets? How can we find out?
I mean, then
Recycle.
they've also spent, I think, 7 point something million on IT equipment, on IT and stuff. So I'm not sure overall if it's value for money in terms of the backup and also the up and what it's costing the residents. So the big question is it value for money?
And we
So
don't know. We don't know because we don't know where they're falling short. I mean, this going back to this freedom of information question, this shows the difficulty. As well as just over 4 million on the landfill service, the council spent just under 3 million on recycling as well. It's been such a struggle to increase the amount of recycling that's done. We're talking serious money here. But again, this illustrates what you were saying, Miah, about how difficult it is to talk to the council. They were asked this FOI information, And the next second question on the list was how many extra bin lorries had to be sent out to pick up collections missed by the routine bin lorries. And the answer was no extra bin lorries needed to be sent out over and above those already allocated to the service and included within the contract resources. That's such a difficult sentence to read, but essentially what it means is you asked us whether we had to get extra bin lorries, and because we sent the existing bin lorries out on extra journeys, we're not actually telling you. And really, you can't answer a freedom of information request in that way. It doesn't
I mean,
help.
what the answer, I think what they're trying to say there is we have a contract with them to pick up. If they've missed, either they've picked it up and we're not telling you because it's part of the contract, or we've, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, they've picked it up together. For example, what happened in Bing Street, 8, 9 days. For example, in Weaver's 2 weeks, I think in Xavier State, it was there for a couple of weeks as well. So they're missing it and they're picking it up maybe in a couple of weeks' time in their schedule. So that's why it's not costing them anything.
Well, we've got quite a little conversation going on our comments box now with Amy Susanna coming back and saying, although Wapping's all right, she is aware that there are problems in the rest of the borough. The rest of the borough is struggling, she says. Bethnal Green and Bow, there are lots of issues with rubbish and recycling. Residents are posting daily on Twitter, complaining with picture evidence. So that's another part of the borough brought in now. And Sybil's back, and she says she wants to add something. The man from the depot asked Sybil to withdraw her complaint. She didn't, and sounded like he spent most of his life responding to complaints rather than dealing with actual issues. It's a management issue. Yes, I think we all agree on that. Okay, well, let us know if your area is suffering as well. But just a couple of other topics that we want to have a quick look at as well. And last week, I think it was, the week before that, we were talking about sport and leisure in the borough and the need to improve services. And we see that there's a press release on the Tower Hamlets Labour website. And I think that's the site of the Tower Hamlets Labour Party. They're fighting for a cleaner, safer and fairer Tower Hamlets. And there they announced, 24th of August, that's today, the Mayor of Tower Hamlets has called on the government to invest more in sport and leisure facilities, and that's great that that's happened. I think I'll put a link to that on the vodcast comment section as well. There we go. People can have a look at the press release, and we know that funding for the council, most of it comes from the government, and what the government pays the council is crucial in what services are delivered. But there is a problem that councils still have to deliver these leisure facilities, no matter if they get funding or not. And it doesn't really highlight what is going on. The mayor seems to be, he does announce that he spent £3 million on helping the borough recover from the pandemic. And within that, there was some funding for various sporting activities throughout the summer, which is obviously a brilliant start, but seems also to be the end. And a bit of summer holiday sport is, I think, really not enough. We were talking, go back and check the programme with Sean Miah. Is it Sean Miah? A couple of weeks ago, and you'll see Sean Malik, not Sean Miah, you're Miah. And, we were really talking about the need to have sport featuring in the curriculum and in outside activities. And John Biggs says years of funding cuts have meant that sport and leisure facilities across the country have had to close, lots of them since 2010. And since the pandemic, there's even more pressure on councils. So he's calling on Boris to invest more in sports and leisure to ensure that people can continue to access facilities. And that's, I think, is the worrying point. Is he saying, we don't know, it's not clear, that if the government doesn't pay new money, then there won't be sport and leisure facilities in the borough? John, are you listening? Will you go to our Facebook page and put in the comment box exactly a clarification of what you mean? The Cabinet Member for Culture, Arts and Brexit is Councillor Sabina Akhtar, and she says that sport and physical activity is important and it will play a major role in our health recovery from COVID-19. And she says, I'm pleased that this council continues to invest in sports and leisure, for example, through our Mayor's COVID Recovery Fund. But we need our leisure facilities across the country. Our leisure facilities need a wholesale investment from the government if they are to remain open. So what do you make of that, Maium? Do you think
Well,
sports facilities are safe in the current administration's hands?
it's not because this administration, they've got a habit of blaming the the government or the previous administration. Mr. Biggs, he's used to all that. So he needs to look at what he's doing. Yes, he's doing this COVID 3 million investment, but has he been doing all this since 2015? They're talking about health and promotion and all that. For example, on the Isle of Dogs, the Tila Leisure Centre, the only leisure centre on the Isle of Dogs. We all know what's happening there. It's shut, and they're trying to get rid of it. Also the library, for example. There's all sort of issue. I campaigned really hard for a outdoor gym at John McDougall Park, for example, because I really thought that we're going to get it at Millwall Park, and maybe that's it. So I really, I done the petition and everything, and it's really well used. People were telling me that it's going to get vandalized every week. It's going to, all this is going to happen. But so far, it's been well used, well maintained. There are a few, bits and issues and things, but it's well used. And I think it's very important for administration or the council to invest, not just talk, actually put their hands in the pocket and get it out and invest in people. No point saying health is important and you're shutting down, health activity and leisure center and other leisure centers, and you're promoting yourself. Just going back, we had Mr. Biggs promoting himself, cleaning the streets. It would have been helpful for him and his team to actually walk around Tower Hamlets and identify where the issues are with the waste. It would have been, instead of taking photo and promoting themselves, because the election is not far. So I think this is the best opportunity for them going round and taking pictures.
Well, certainly, I've walked past the outdoor gym in Millwall Park fairly frequently, and that as well, I must say, is very well used, and it is mostly younger people. And it's good to see people out doing something constructive. Back in the day, we used to see them out with a few cans of lager and a bonfire, and it's really good to see this sort of change in activity. And Shul's actually listening. Shul, I'm sorry to call you Shul, Miah. I did actually live next door to a Shul, Miah, so I'm afraid Shul is always associated with Miah in my mind. But he's very cross with the mayor's comment, which he says it's a smokescreen to hide his cuts to the Sports Foundation and closing St George's and the Tiller Centre. He said, who's he kidding, the mayor, in this statement? And what he worries about, he said, who are the biggest losers in the community? It's the poor. Yeah. Indeed. So we don't often have time to look at the equalities implications of the cuts that are being made. So that's our little bit on sport. Just quickly going back to rubbish collection. Our newest councillor, Councillor Kabir Ahmed, is listening as well, and he's come online to comment, to add something on the record. He's also had a number of complaints from residents about rubbish collection, residents in Weavers, obviously, and he's been following that up. So thank you, Councillor Ahmed. You're one of the few councillors who is actually walking around his ward and reporting. As far as we know, if you're a councillor and if you've been walking around your ward and reporting problems with the rubbish collection in your area, please let us know. Come onto the Facebook page and let us know. Now, we're going to be a little bit shorter tonight for various technical reasons, but we're not quite done yet, because there's another photo I saw of you recently, Maium, which is collecting a certain award. What was going on there?
Oh yeah, it was organised by Canary Wharf Group. They invited all the third sector organisation who supported residents or worked during the pandemic, and I think there was quite a lot of organisation from throughout Tower Hamlets, and obviously Island Network was one of them, and I had the privilege to collect the award, COVID Champion Award, on behalf of Island Network. I had my volunteers, so it was very good initiative by the Canary Wharf Group, and I'm grateful to them for recognizing. And they were part and parcel of the COVID delivery because they sponsored quite a lot of our food packs along with one housing. So it was a very
Mm,
nice event. There were COVID champions throughout the borough
mm,
who has done really well, who has served the.
mm,
Um, and yeah, we were really proud that we've delivered over
mm,
56,000. I mean, there was a video shown on the day, and yeah, I felt really proud. And I think
mm,
that was a fantastic. Although the pandemic was, it was very sad that we've lost so many lives, we've lost so many people, neighbors,
mm,
um, but it kind of brought everyone together. Everyone really came together and really dealt with the pandemic. I think
mm,
we've done our best, and I congratulate everyone who's worked, not just Island Network,
mm,
everyone contributed towards the service, towards the food packs during the pandemic.
mm. Well, just put on the Facebook page a link to the East London News article about the awards, so people can have a little look there. But I just want to add, yeah, wasn't it the highest number of food units delivered, 56,000 by a single organisation, didn't you say?
Yeah, I think so, but it's 57 now, so it was.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so with
uh,
the height.
what
So far,
impressed me, and I did watch one of the sort of little couple of minute videos that you sent out, was that many white residents were not only happy to take, or appeared happy to take, a parcel from the Island Network volunteers, um, but they wanted a little chat as well. And I, probably like you, remember the days back in 1994, 93, 94, when if you knocked on the door of a white resident on the Isle of Dogs, there was a 50% chance you would get a stream of abuse. And I just want to really remind people how divided our borough used to be. It wasn't just the Isle of Dogs, it was demonstrations around Morpeth School, and of course many other areas, and Brick Lane, and so many demonstrations and supports actions we've taken to try to make the borough an anti-racist borough. And it's brilliant now to see, I think, to see the Island Network volunteers widely accepted by the whole community. It's a real turnaround, and I think really congratulations are due for that. And they're also coming from Shua Malik again, who says the award was well deserved at a time when the community needed to come together and help the most needy and vulnerable. So yes, congratulations all round. Keep going, you obviously are, and I know it was at a cost because I saw myself the very tired volunteers at the end of some of the processes, and I remember sort of ringing you up as well for information about the network, and you saying that you couldn't really give me much information because you couldn't actually walk. You'd actually been out so long on the island, you lost the ability to walk any longer. So I'm glad you've recovered from that. Okay, so I think that's the last of the comments. And I'm very glad we've had this little chat about rubbish. We've certainly highlighted the fact it's an important issue. And I think we've also highlighted that the issue of our sports centres is something that we'll have to look into in the local media, and we'll have to try to find out what's going on and what the intentions are. So unless you have any last words, Maium?
well, I mean, we just need to work together and help each other. And also, any information or anything, it looks like tweets and Facebook is powerful.
Mm,
The council's own process, and I think we need to utilize that. We need to use that. We need to communicate, and also I think the council, if they have any decency, They need to wake up. They need to start walking on the streets and start representing properly. And they really, really need to review what is happening. Why is, I mean, this is not a political issue. We're not trying to make it political. Every part of the corner of the borough, people are complaining, residents are complaining. This is genuine stuff and bread and butter stuff, and they really need to review it, and they really need to sort this out. And if
Thank
they
you,
need help
Miah.
from us, we're there to help them. If they need local knowledge, I know a lot of the councillors, they don't have local knowledge. They haven't got a clue. We're here to help them with the local knowledge.
Lovely, that's great. Well, thank you, Miah, for coming on and sharing those things with us. Well done on the rubbish campaign and for highlighting the issue, and we'll certainly take that further. So, viewers, thank you for watching tonight, and we'll see you again next Tuesday. We have a couple of exciting programmes lined up to reflect some of the things going on in the community. Watch our social media for more information about that. But for tonight, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night.